Put your hands behind your back.
I'm Councilman Jerome Williams. What is this about?
We need to verify your immigration status. Turn around.
My immigration status? I was born in this city. I'm a United States citizen.
We have information suggesting otherwise. Hands behind your back, now.
This doesn't make any
Sir, put your hands behind your back. I'm Councilman Jerome Williams. What is this about? We need to verify your immigration status. Turn around. My immigration status? I was born in this city. I'm a United States citizen. We have information suggesting otherwise. Hands behind your back now. This doesn't make any sense. They grabbed him in front of everyone. Cameras rolling. Witnesses watching marble steps of City Hall in broad daylight. An elected official bleeding from his face, handcuffed behind his back. Being dragged toward a government vehicle while people pulled out their phones and started recording. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't quiet. It was designed to send a message. And that message was simple. Challenge us and we'll destroy you in public. The Tuesday afternoon was the kind of perfect day where nothing feels like it should go wrong. Temperature in the low 70s, clear skies, city halls, marble columns gleaming in the sun. The plaza was busy. People on lunch breaks, city employees heading out for coffee. A few tourists snapping photos of the imposing government building. Normal, peaceful, right up until 3 IC agents decided to make it something else entirely. Before we continue, where are you watching from? If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be shared, and your support helps us bring more truth to light. Councilman Jerome Williams had just left a budget committee meeting. 2:17 p.m., according to the timestamp on camera 3. The one mounted above the main entrance, he was walking down the marble steps. Briefcase in one hand, phone in the other. Dressed in a dark suit with a blue tie, the professional uniform of elected officials everywhere. He was heading to his car, parked in the designated city council spaces on the east side of the building. He never made it to his car. 3 IC agents were waiting at the bottom of the steps. Their vest said IC in bold letters, though that detail would become important later when it became clear Immigration and Customs Enforcement had no legitimate reason to be arresting a city councilman who'd never been investigated for anything immigration related. The lead agent was Special Agent Connor Hayes, a man in his early 50s with 23 years in federal law enforcement and a file full of red flags that had been consistently ignored by his superiors. Behind him were Agent Lauren Mitchell, younger, aggressive, known internally for her willingness to bend rules to close cases, and Agent Derek Thompson, the quiet one, the follower. The agent who did what he was told without asking too many questions. All 3 had their body cams activated. Standard procedure. What wasn't standard was what they were about to do. Jerome was halfway down the steps when Hayes called out, "Jerome Williams." Jerome stopped, looked at the 3 people in tactical vests at the base of the steps. Confusion crossed his face, then weariness. He'd been a community organizer before politics. Had worked with enough law enforcement to recognize when something felt wrong. "I'm Councilman Williams." "Yes. Can I help you?" Ace pulled out handcuffs. Didn't even try to hide them. "Sir, put your hands behind your back." The plaza wasn't crowded, but there were people around. A city employee smoking a cigarette near the side entrance. 2 women eating lunch on a bench. A maintenance worker changing a light bulb on one of the exterior fixtures. All of them would later testify about what they saw. Jerome took a step back up the stairs, instinctively putting distance between himself and the agents. "I'm Councilman Jerome Williams. What is this about?" Mitchell moved to his left, cutting off any escape route toward the building. "We need to verify your immigration status. Turn around." "My immigration status." Jerome's voice carried disbelief. "I was born in this city. I'm a United States citizen. I'm an elected official." Hayes climbed 2 steps, closing the distance. We have information suggesting otherwise. Hands behind your back. Now, the CCTV footage from camera 3 had a perfect view. Jerome standing on the steps in his suit, briefcase still in hand, phone now lowered, 3 IC agents surrounding him. And Jerome's face as he realized this wasn't going to be resolved with conversation, that these agents had come to arrest him. And nothing he said was going to stop them. "I'm not resisting," Jerome said clearly, loudly, making sure anyone with an earshot could hear him. "I'm complying, but I want everyone watching to know I have done nothing wrong. I'm being detained by IC without explanation, without being shown any documentation, while I'm an elected city councilman and a United States citizen. Save the speech for the cameras," Hayes said, and then he grabbed Jerome's arm. What happened next would be analyzed frame by frame by attorneys, by journalists, by investigators, by a jury. Jerome set his briefcase down on the steps. Slowly, deliberately, no sudden movements. He turned around slowly, deliberately, hands coming up and behind his back of his own accord. He was cooperating. The footage made that absolutely clear. And Hayes still slammed him face first into the marble steps. The sound was sickening. Jerome's cheek hitting stone, the crack loud enough that the maintenance worker 70 feet away flinched. Mitchell was there immediately, knee and Jerome's back, wrenching his arms behind him with enough force that Jerome cried out. Thompson hung back, his body cam recording everything. His face uncertain, but his feet staying exactly where Hayes had positioned him. The city employee who'd been smoking dropped his cigarette and started recording on his phone. One of the women on the bench was already calling 911, though what she was reporting, IC agents assaulting an elected official or a legitimate arrest, wasn't clear even to her. Hayes cuffed Jerome's hands behind his back while Mitchell kept her knee planted between his shoulder blades, pressing him into the steps hard enough that his face was scraped raw against the rough marble. Blood was already visible, a dark stain spreading from where his cheekbone had connected with the edge of a step. "You're hurting me," Jerome said, his voice strained from the weight on his back. "I'm not resisting. You're hurting me." "Then stop resisting," Mitchell said, pressing harder. "I'm not." Jerome's voice cut off as Mitchell shifted her weight, making it hard for him to breathe properly. Camera 1 mounted on the east side of the building had a different angle. It showed the small crowd that had started to gather. City employees coming out of the building, drawn by the commotion, pedestrians stopping on the sidewalk. Someone shouting, "That's Councilman Williams." Someone else pulling out their phone to record. Hayes pulled Jerome to his feet, roughly not giving him time to get his balance. Jerome stumbled, and Hayes used that stumble to justify shoving him forward toward the black SUV with government plates parked at the curb. Jerome's suit jacket was torn. His face was bleeding. His hands were cuffed so tightly his fingers were already starting to lose color. And he kept talking, kept making sure his voice carried. "My name is Jerome Williams. I'm an elected member of the City Council. I represent the 4th District. I'm being detained by IC agents who claim they need to verify my immigration status. I am a United States citizen born in this city. I have not been shown any warrant or documentation. I have been assaulted on the steps of City Hall in front of witnesses. I need someone to call my attorney. I need someone to call the mayor. I need someone to document what's happening here." A young man in the crowd shouted back, "We're recording, Councilman." "We got it all." Hayes shoved Jerome toward the SUV. "Get in the vehicle." "I want to see the warrant," Jerome said again. "You have to show me the warrant. You'll see it at the station." "That's not how this works. You have to show me the warrant at the time of arrest. That's the law." Hayes grabbed the back of Jerome's head and pushed him down the way cops do when loading someone into a car. Except he did it hard enough that Jerome's forehead bounced off the doorframe before he made it into the back seat. Another cry of pain. Another visible Wessie from the growing crowd of witnesses. Camera for covering the parking area captured the moment the SUV door slammed shut with Jerome inside. Captured Hayes and Mitchell climbing into the front seats. Captured Thompson getting into the driver's seat, his expression visible through the windshield. Troubled, uncomfortable, but compliant. The vehicle pulled away from City Hall at 2:24 p.m., 7 minutes from when they'd first called Jerome's name to when they drove away with an elected official in handcuffs in the back seat. The city employee who'd recorded it on his phone was already uploading it to social media. The women from the bench were giving statements to city security. The maintenance worker was talking to a reporter from the local news, who'd been in the building covering a different story and had come running when she heard the commotion. Inside the SUV, Jerome sat with his hands cuffed behind him. Blood trickling down his face from the scrape on his cheek and a cut above his eye where he'd hit the door frame. He could feel his phone in his jacket pocket. Could feel his briefcase left behind on the steps. Could feel every second of his political career and personal freedom slipping away. "What is this about?" he asked, keeping his voice level. "Why are you questioning?" "My citizenship." No answer from the front seat. "I was born at City General Hospital. My birth certificate is on file with the county. My parents were both born in this state." "What immigration status are you trying to verify?" "Still nothing." "I'm an elected official." The mayor is going to ask questions. The city attorney is going to ask questions. The media is going to ask questions. Whatever you think you're doing right now, it's not going to end the way you think it will. Hayes glanced in the rearview mirror. Maybe you should have thought about that before you started lying about your citizenship. Jerome went very still. Lying. "I've never lied about my citizenship. I was born here. That's not what our information says." "What information? From who? What are they claiming?" "You'll find out soon enough." Jerome sat back, his mind racing. This was political. This had to be political. He'd been pushing for policies protecting undocumented immigrants in the city. He'd been vocal about limiting cooperation between local police and IC. He'd sponsored resolutions declaring the city a welcoming community. And now suddenly ICE agents were detaining him for citizenship verification with no warning. No investigation he knew about, no chance to defend himself. The drive to the IC field office took 18 minutes. 18 minutes during which Jerome's face continued to bleed, during which his wrists went numb from the too tight handcuffs, during which he ran through every political calculation and legal option he could think of. When they pulled into the secure parking garage, Hayes and Mitchell pulled him out of the vehicle and marched him through a side entrance, bypassing the public areas where reporters might be waiting. They took him to a processing room that smelled of industrial cleaner and fear. They uncuffed him long enough to take his suit jacket, his tie, his belt, his phone, his wallet, his wedding ring. Then they cuffed him again and sat him at a metal table. Hayes dropped a folder in front of him. Inside was a detainer form and an administrative warrant claiming Jerome was subject to removal proceedings. The basis? An anonymous tip claiming he'd entered the country illegally as a child and had fraudulently obtained citizenship documents. Jerome read it twice. His legal training from 20 years ago kicking in even through the shock. The warrant was vague. No specific evidence. No documentation of the alleged illegal entry. Just broad allegations based on an unnamed source. This is garbage. Jerome said, "I was born at City General Hospital. My birth certificate is on file." This claim has no basis. We'll see about that. Mitchell said they left him alone in the room for 47 minutes, long enough for the blood on his face to dry, long enough for the adrenaline to wear off and the pain to set in, long enough for him to understand that this was designed to humiliate and intimidate him, to break him down before they even started questioning him. When they came back, they had an IC attorney with them, a young woman named Ashley Brennan, who looked uncomfortable with the whole situation. "Mr. Williams," she said, not even using his title, "I need to inform you that you're being held for removal proceedings based on allegations that you're not a lawful U.S. citizen. Based on what evidence? That will be disclosed in the hearing. Who made these allegations? That's confidential. What proof do you have that I entered the country illegally? That will be disclosed in the hearing." Jerome leaned forward as much as the handcuffs allowed. "So, you detained an elected official in public on the steps of City Hall, based on an anonymous allegation that I'm not a citizen despite public records showing I was born in this city, and you're not going to tell me any details until after you've already destroyed my reputation." Brennan looked away. She knew she had to know this whole thing was wrong. "I want my lawyer," Jerome said. "I'm invoking my right to counsel. I will not answer any questions without my attorney present." They processed him anyway. Fingerprints, photos, the whole degrading process. Then they put him in a holding cell while they waited for a bond hearing to be scheduled. His attorney, a criminal defense lawyer named Marcus Reed, who'd represented him on minor matters before, arrived within 2 hours. He'd been called by Jerome's wife, who'd been called by a city council colleague who'd seen the detention on the news. Reed watched the CCTV footage that the city had already pulled and provided to the media. He watched the body cam footage that had been leaked by someone in the IC building who knew this detention was wrong. He watched Jerome get slammed into the marble steps, watched him comply and still be treated like a violent criminal. Watched the whole theatrical production designed to make an elected official look like he was hiding something. "They're going to regret this," Reed said quietly. "Every second of it." The bond hearing happened that evening. The immigration judge, a woman named Judge Elizabeth Carson, who'd been on the bench for 15 years, looked at the vague allegations, looked at the lack of any actual evidence, looked at the defense attorney's motion for immediate release, and ordered Jerome released on his own recognizance. The IC attorney objected. "Your Honor, the respondent may be a flight risk." Judge Carson looked at her like she'd lost her mind. "He's an elected city councilman. Where exactly is he going to flee to?" "Mexico. He was born here." Jerome walked out of the IC building at 9:43 p.m., 7½ hours after being detained on the steps of City Hall. His face was bruised and bandaged. His suit was ruined. His wrists had deep purple marks from the handcuffs, but he was free. The media was waiting. Cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions. Jerome stood on the steps of the IC building. Ironic, given where his day had started, and gave a statement. "Today, ICE agents detained me on the steps of City Hall in full view of the public and the media. They claimed they needed to verify my citizenship status. I was born in this city. I grew up here. I was educated here. I was elected here by the citizens of this community. They had my birth certificate on file at the county clerk's office. They could have verified my citizenship with a single phone call. Instead, they slammed me into marble steps, handcuffed me, and took me to a detention facility. All based on an anonymous allegation with no evidence. I have never misrepresented my citizenship. And I will fight these allegations with everything I have, because this isn't about immigration enforcement. This is about silencing someone who's been fighting for immigrant rights and limiting ISIS power in our city." The footage of his detention had already gone viral. The CCTV showing him being thrown into the steps. The cell phone video showing the blood on his face. The body cam showing Mitchell's knee in his back while he said, "I'm not resisting." Civil rights organizations issued statements of support. Within hours, the mayor called for an investigation into the detention. The city council held an emergency session and voted unanimously to hire legal counsel to intervene in the case on Jerome's behalf. The immigration case fell apart in 6 weeks. The anonymous source turned out to be a political opponent who'd fabricated the allegation entirely. Someone who'd lost to Jerome in the last election and was desperate to remove him from office. The allegations couldn't be supported by any documentation. Jerome's birth certificate was on file at City General Hospital. His parents' citizenship was documented. His entire life history was traceable through public records. The removal proceedings were terminated with prejudice, meaning they couldn't be reinstated, but the damage was done. Jerome's name had been dragged through the media. His face, bleeding and handcuffed, had been on every news channel. His political opponents had used the detention to question whether he was really who he said he was, even after the proceedings were terminated. So Jerome did what anyone with evidence and legal grounds would do. He sued. The lawsuit named Hayes, Mitchell, and Thompson personally. It named IC as an agency. It named the federal government. The charges were false arrest, excessive force, malicious prosecution, violation of civil rights, and conspiracy to deprive Jerome of his constitutional rights. The damages sought, $21.4 million. The discovery process revealed what many had suspected. Hayes had been looking for a way to go after Jerome for months. Ever since Jerome had publicly pushed for sanctuary city policies and criticized IC operations in the community. Mitchell had been eager to help, seeing it as a way to send a message to other elected officials who challenged IC authority. Thompson had gone along because that's what junior agents did. They'd pressured the political opponent to make false allegations against Jerome, queuing him information about how to frame the claim. They'd rushed the administrative warrant, presenting only information that supported their narrative and hiding Jerome's well-documented citizenship. They'd planned a public detention specifically to humiliate Jerome and damage his reputation as a voice for immigrant rights. It was a conspiracy, plain and simple. And it was all documented in emails, text messages, and recorded calls between the agents. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury watched the CCTV footage of the detention. They watched the body cam showing Jerome being compliant while being assaulted. They read the emails between Hayes and Mitchell, planning how to shut down the councilman, who'd become too much of a problem for IC operations. They heard testimony from the political opponent admitting he'd fabricated the citizenship allegations under encouragement from the agents. They reviewed Jerome's birth certificate, his parents' documents, generations of